This is going to be a really brief overview of kind of what this is. So VibraGenix to me is the ultimate biohacking system because you are 70% water, and in fact sound travels 5 times faster through water. I think it's one of the most effective ways of treating the body. So sound frequency medicine is for the mind, body, and spirit. It really treats all systems. There's over 1,000 frequency formulas. There's a scalar wave technology to create 0-point energy or draw that in. Eastern medicine, cell voltage, and so much more. A little bit about me, if you don't know much about me. I was raised in a family of medical doctors. The women in my family were medical doctors, the men were farmers or lawyers. And since I was 5, I just wanted to be a doctor. I just, idolized my aunt and the most. And she's just an amazing, intuitive physician. And my mom was also a physician, but she found out when she went to medical school that she couldn't stand the sight of blood, and she didn't find that out until she was in her internship, because way back then, because I'm almost 58 and she's 95, so one of these women were like pioneers in medicine, where they'd have a class full and there was maybe 4 girls, all the rest were guys. But she was in her internship, the first time she got around like real blood, it was all cadaver work back then, and she would pass out. It doesn't work well if you're a physician. So my aunt, when I was 12, decided to put me to litmus test, and she goes, "So you want to see a surgery?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was this size when I was 12. I shot up really fast and stopped. So she took me in to see a surgery, and it was a partial colon resection. And she just, here's a chair if you need it. And I thought it was utterly fascinating. And then she, the section she took out, she's like, "Okay, come here and look at this. Yep. See, this is all cancer right in here." And she's going to feel so much better now that this is out of her body. So still really super fascinated. She started bringing me in to do clinical time with her. I couldn't go into ER because of my age and all that, but if she'd get the women's permission, I could go in and watch deliveries, which I thought was great too. So it wasn't until later on in college, I have kind of an aha moment. It's like, okay, here we're doing all these surgeries and giving all these medications, and we're never addressing the root of the problem. It's just going to come back anyway. And then so many medications that have side effects that you have to give another medication just to treat the side effects. And to me, that was like creating chemical soup. And I said, this just doesn't seem right. And she said, these are the only tools we're given. They weren't, back at that time, they weren't taught any nutrition in medical school. Now they have one class. So I took a hard right and went to naturopathic college instead. And there I got 3 classes in nutrition, which isn't a whole lot more than 1. So I decided when I was done with that, I needed to get a master's in nutrition. So I did that. And, being in practice was great, but I was handing out handfuls of pills. You have to take 10 of these and 6 of these, and it was just everybody would have their cup 3 times a day that they had to take, and it really inundated not only the gastrointestinal tract but their livers as well. And I just saw that it wasn't the right way. So a lady moved to town and she was a Reiki master, so I thought, might be something to this. So I started studying with her and eventually became a Reiki master, integrated that, but I still found much more effective. I could cut down on the pills and get people better faster, but I knew there had to be a better way. It's like I kept telling myself, we're missing a key, we're missing a key, we're missing a key. And that kept me studying everything. I used to meditate 4 hours a day, I read all the time, and I'd work. And then I had kids and all that changed. You no longer get 4 hours a day to meditate when you have children. Anyway, so finding frequency medicine and studying Rife and the ancient tones and Eastern medicine, I thought all of these pieces really fit into this beautiful tapestry, and golden threads of truth run through all of it, but every single human being is different. One person might need these 3 pieces, this person needs these 2 to heal. You can't use the same formula or the same tools or the same methods on everybody, modalities, and have them heal. So integrating them all, and the software came separate from the machine. Turbosonic I thought was a fantastic thing. We found out early on its effects on cell voltage within 10 minutes. It was profound. So what we found is people using the machine had chronic things that were just going away. Chronic hemorrhoids, it took time on the machine, but all it had was the auto mode. And none of that was being seen in comparison studies with mechanical vibration. So we surmise that because you're getting your cell voltage up, your body is beginning to spontaneously heal. And that is really one of the huge keys. But integrating all the other frequency medicine is really important to me. This I won't play very long. I just thought it was really, really interesting. Everybody knows this statement. But this is taking specific single sound frequencies with salt and making it burst into different patterns. I don't know if we can move forward a little. I have the music down really low. So you can do this. We have a frequency generator. We're actually going to kind of simulate this, but it goes through a huge span of frequencies, going through a metal plate. I didn't realize the intro took this long. Sorry.
You can fast forward it on the bottom.
Yeah, I just wanted to do at least one.
I've seen this.
But it will change. Yeah, all of them will just change and change and change.
There's different hertz.
And you get more complex a pattern the higher the frequencies you go.
Yeah.
And this is with water. I won't play this one very long either, but you can put different tones through water. It'll actually go backwards. It has amazing patterns it goes through. But essentially what I wanted was a bridge, because being raised in traditional medicine, there are absolutely things I love about it. If I'm in a car accident, the first place I want to go is ER. But also with the limits there, I think it's a great tool. It's one of those pieces on that tapestry that we need sometimes. But integrating all of them together into one system. Now, as far as traditional medicine, they are very aware that, like, the lymphatic system, the most neglected system in the body, one without a pump, and that this is the most powerful tool you can use because it gets down into that low frequency range of 4, 5, and 6 that allows the lymph to be thrown up and the one-way valve to close. So really, really effective for that. Most mechanical machines don't go down below 25 to 35 hertz right in that area. Greatly enhances circulation. It's a passive exercise modality, so for people with balance issues, people that are elderly, people with different kinds of diseases where they can't get out and exercise, 10 minutes equals an hour of cardio for what it does from your circulatory system. It is a powerful tool for increasing bone density. And then, of course, it tightens and tones your muscles, prevents bone loss. Naturopathic medicine, we all look at this technology for all the same things, but it treats the emotional body too, releases all kinds of built up toxins and energy blocks, trauma blocks in the body. I love integrating, and most naturopaths love integrating Rife and Hilda Clark frequencies because they're so powerful. Really, the impact on cell voltage, you can't deny that. It's such a key feature. And then also to optimize the brain, integrating that TBSW and the scalar wave technology. Eastern medicine, all about the mind, body, spirit. It does not just look at the physical body at all. Clearing trauma is really, really important. Chakras, that system is ancient. It's 1200 AD to 500 AD, right in that period of time was when it was first written about the different organs that will malfunction. And Eastern medicine strongly believes that all disorder, dysfunction, and disease is from blocked energy in the body. And we've had several examples of this. The people that bought our very first machine, she got it for depression and weight loss. And they waited for our first production model. And I had the first prototype. And about 6 months later, we were over there and they were doing well, and asked him his experience if they had any testimonials, and he said, yeah, my shoulder pain's gone. He had gotten thrown from a horse 10 years before, had reconstruction, and some range of motion and all that, but he had constant pain. So for 10 years he lived on ibuprofen, 3 of them every 3 to 4 hours. And that takes a massive toll on your kidneys and on your liver. Anyway, 4 times on the machine his shoulder pain went away. 4 sessions. And that means it was a trauma block that was still there. So once you move those out of the body, I've seen that happen with chronic back pain in 2 sessions. It's just amazing what removing that trauma energy does. And then keeping our energy field really, really clear. That's super, super important. So that's a nice picture of our basic building block, which is the atom. And this, according to quantum physics, is the actual toroidal field of energy that surrounds every living thing. Your pets, you, the earth. And it is in constant motion. And you're constantly emitting light energy, subtle energy, emotional, mental, all of that, and you're constantly bringing it in. It is a massive communication field. And all of this energy, there's a second course of energy that comes from source and into the earth. All of this energy is going through your chakra centers. So if you have a trauma block there, like you have a trauma block in your heart, it will lead to, according to Eastern medicine, lung cancer, breast cancer, heart disease, all of those kinds of things. So really important to keep those tuned up and clear. I use the chakra balancing about three days a week. And to keep your energy field really clear. And this is really seeing the overlay, how everybody around us affects us and we affect them. And especially if you're in a treatment center and you're working on a lot of really sick people, it is more important than ever that you keep your energy field clear. And getting on this, you can clear it with all the ancient tones, that meditation formula. It moves really fast and clears out. Ideally, you want to have the right people in your life.
Ideally, yeah.
Yeah, it's not always as easy as we think it might be. These are the two huge groups of people that I've been finding. So I find a lot of the unhealthy diet and lifestyle people that have a list of 20 things wrong with them. And this will improve a lot of those things. I mean, you can address a multitude of things, but getting them to change their diet and lifestyle sometimes is much more difficult. But the picture on the other side, this is a different group of people. These people have like led a life where they've eaten right, they've meditated, they've tried to take care of themselves, and they are really struggling in this last 3 years. The post-COVID thing, it has affected people in a very strange way. So having a long-haul COVID frequency protocol that gets rid of that and gets them realigned and back on their feet is really important. Also, everybody's had a ton of emotional stress since this happened, either loss of a loved one or loss of a business or financial hardship or breakup of relationships. I think divorces went to an all-time high. Alcohol consumption went up by 62%. There's just a lot of people trying to maintain through this, and it's time to kind of thrive again. So to me, VibraGenix is literally your frequency medicine box. And it has been for, I don't know, Carl shared his stories, it has been for him. It has definitely been for me. There's, to give you an example, frequencies for incontinence. You can take care of that, get rid of the symptoms in 3 to 5 days. And that is something where you have surgery as an option, you have medicine as an option. And the medicine that our Dave's mom was put on was $500 a month. The insurance would pay for half, and it just dried her out, and it didn't stop the incontinence. And he's like, why aren't you using the frequencies? Because she has the milky in it. So she did that. 3 days later, the problem was over. So to me, using it for everything, menstrual cramps, you can usually take those away in sometimes 30 seconds to a minute. So using this instead of reaching for an over-the-counter or prescriptive medicine, or even all the people in this other category that are struggling, most of them are taking way too many supplements. So they're really taking a big hit on their liver, because your liver still has to process everything. I never thought of it much for emergency medicine until about a month ago. Was it a month or 5 weeks ago? And I was here at work, and I had a TIA, and it took out my speech. And I still notice it in my speech. I'm still like looking for words here and there. When I was first talking to you today, my brain wasn't functioning quite at the normal level it should be. But it's coming back. But I called my husband into my office, and he goes, what did I do?
Well, she was just teary-eyed looking at me. I'm like, what did I do wrong?
But I could say a syllable, but I couldn't actually speak. And it just scared me, because, everything runs on my brain, it seems like. And the only thing I could think of was going to the booth, and I said stroke follow-up frequencies. But I know my software better than anybody, and I could not find a single other frequency to put with it. For 20 minutes, I sat there and scrolled panel to panel to panel, because I couldn't, cognitively, I couldn't process. Went back in my office, Carl came in, he sat down, just grabbed my hands, because I could stutter by then, but grabbed my hands and prayed, and then started giving me a little neurological test, and then he told me I need to go to the ER. And I said, I want to try something. And I went back in, and I could think then. So I turned on oxygen, I turned on DNA repair, inflammation, the stroke recovery frequencies, and 6th chakra. Went that 20 minutes. By the time I got out, I could speak, but I still could not track. I had my team here and I was going through my list for everybody and I just couldn't process what was on the list. So I thought, okay, check the date. And I'm looking at the date and I'm like, it's not September. It was September. And so I was going to go see my best friend and I did agree to go straight home, but I lost huge chunks in that day. But during the weeks that have followed, I mean, I did put myself on baby aspirin, but I did those protocols constantly, and I have an oxygen concentrator at home, so I would sleep with it about half the night because I was really working on repair. Went in, that was on a Friday. The following Monday, I got a bunch of studies ordered for contrast, no contrast, CT, contrast, no contrast, MRI, echocardiogram of the heart, and carotid artery angiogram. Finally got the results back. The way insurance and medicine works, you know, it was dead by then, but got all the results back, and it turns out that I don't have any plaque in me anywhere. Everything's really clear and clean because I've had the cleanest diet of anybody I know for so many years. But there were multiple small ischemic attacks, so multiple small TIAs, and there was a cluster around the brainstem that was probably what took out my speech. And then they looked at my heart, and they do this. I'd never seen this before. This was not around back when I was witnessing echocardiograms, but they give you saline, do everything, all the scanning. When it's complete, they take air in a syringe. You might know about this, and they pump it into your vein. You go, and then they
I always thought that was a no-no.
Oh, no,
I did too.
not in your arteries. That's what I said to Carl. He goes, not in your arteries. You can in the veins. I'm like, anyway, so they pumped it in there.
Do it in your vein.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so anyway, then they redo the echocardiogram and they watch where the bubbles go. So I have a PFO. It's not fully open, but it's perforated foramen ovale. It's a hole between the left and right ventricle that's supposed to close when you're born. And mine's still partially open. And then I have regurgitation in both valves. So mine is structural. That's why I'm going to go see Dr. Daryl Bates and see if we can get some B-cell repair here. But I'm still, so now I added in heart valves,
Heart general.
heart valve disease. I had mitral valve thickness. I already knew about that because I had rheumatic fever when I was young, but I didn't know the other valve was leaking too, and the regurgitation got worse. So I'm going to go see him. I'm doing heart support, still working on the brain, but I really feel like it saved my life, this technology, and I had never thought about it for emergency medicine before, but I think if you know what to run, I think it can help just about anything because your body responds so well to sound frequencies. That's what third time I've told that story, and this time I didn't cry. It was a very emotional thing for me because if I don't have my brain and my speech, I don't know what to do with all this.
Isn't it incredible that something that you
That's why you need a
created
mobile.
saved your life?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, anyway, that's my story.
That's awesome. That's a great story. Yeah.
I'm still not at the end of that story, but the other thing, and Dr. Daryl Bates said this, he said, okay, you have this heart condition, but you've had this heart condition for a very long time. You've had the PFO, and you've had at least one leaky valve. Why now? My emotional stress has been through the roof this last year. And I had to make some changes, which I'm at the very tail end of getting that corrected. Because you go back to that picture where we overlap, and it's not my husband, he's wonderful.
We were all
got that
going
on
to
tape.
VibraGenix.
So anyway, there's steps in your life,
Everybody's a
regardless of
comedian.
machine, regardless of how well
Trying
you
not
eat,
to.
regardless of meditation or anything else you do. There are things in your life that have to be moved
Yeah.
for you to be healthy and whole.
I wonder, I don't know if VibraGenix, the frequency included, because we learned about biological decoding, one of the teaching based on that New German medicine, Dr. Hammers. So basically, there's a part of the body that try to tell you what you really need to work on. With the heart, that's separation of relationship. Can be separation of your spouse or children or yourself or ancestral separation, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder that type of frequency that are able to generate that.
Yeah, yeah. I believe everybody has their own internal physician. My body was talking to me for a long time. I had really hard time sleeping, and we have great sleep frequencies, insomnia, deep sleep, and all of that. And I have sleep meditations. I have tried, it all many times. And last night I actually slept because we have a good resolution to the problem. And my nervous system was getting more shot over the year, and to the point where I still have some shakes, but not nearly like I was. But if my brain gets low on oxygen, I get a lot more shaky. So I'm fixing the problem from the root, and then I still have to fix my heart.